Hello fellow kaiju fans and kaiju collectors, I'm back for my next Ultraman review. Yes, I'm going to keep up the trend of Ultraman reviews for now. We'll see how long I can go for, but today we're going to be taking a look at another figure, and this is quite possibly one of my favorite figures out of the Ultra 500 line. Maybe not in terms of the sculpt, because of how flawed it is in certain places, but just the fact that we got this character, I was thrilled, because it's possibly my favorite Ultra Kaiju of all time. And it is, well, it's none other than the Ultraman Kaiju Zaragas. Yes, love this figure, and I love the monster too. I mainly love this figure because of its, we finally got a figure that's not X Plus of Zaragas, because we've never had it before, at least as far as I remember. But we did get that very expensive, I think it's like $300 or $400 statue. I believe it was an X Plus. But the difference was that it came with the shields that he had on his breastplates, his head, and his back. But this one, it's the point in the episode when he it's after he sheds his shells and is in his, I guess you'd say, final form. So yeah, I'll just start off with the history of this character. I'm only going to focus on the original Ultraman's history of this episode of this monster, because I'm not quite sure on the Ultra Galaxy history for Zaragas. But essentially, in the original Ultraman, what Zaragas's role was that essentially he started showing up out of the, like, there's this, Japan builds this children's center where they can learn about all this kinds of different stuff. And one day, a crack appears in the dome, like the concrete dome of this children's museum, and a blinding flash of light appears. Nobody knows what it is, and it happens again later on. But then finally, in a plume of red smoke, Zaragas appears, and he's got shells on his head, breastplate, and back. So essentially what happens is he goes on this rampage, destroying buildings as the usual Ultra Kaiju does. But as the Science Patrol attacks him, it seems to weaken him, only for him to shed his shells, which then in turn leads to the conclusion that attacks on this monster only make him stronger, because then the Japanese military gives the Science Patrol the orders not to fire upon the monster at all, essentially. They just figure let the monster go on its rampage, which is kind of stupid, but like, it's not going to just go away. But we do get, of course, the title of the episode is Don't Shoot Arashi, because Hayata, Arashi are the only two that go into this children's land after they learn that some children have been trapped in there, and Zaragas is sleeping just outside of the museum itself. So they go in, and they rescue the children, but the children are all blinded, like they're unconscious. And Hayato carries them out, and Arashi goes to protect them with Ito's new gun. I can't remember what it's called, but it's some sort of new gun that it's supposed to... I can't even remember the name of it. I haven't watched the episode in so long. But, so then, of course, Arashi shoots, the monster goes completely nuts, and he is stripped of his Science Patrol title, which then Arashi figures that he'll finish the monster and surprise the entire Science Patrol while Hayata is blinded and can overhear the whole thing. So then he gets up and runs up to the top of the roof and transforms into Ultraman, which kind of surprises me that Ultraman isn't in some way blind, but that's when it does come later on in the fight, because Ultraman gets on Zaragas' back, and Zaragas uses his attack of blinding, and like essentially blinding flashes of light can come out of all these different holes on him and blind people, and he uses it to blind Ultraman, who is essentially stumbling around the entire time. He does manage to get one kick into Zaragas while blinded, because I guess he can either hear Zaragas moving around or he can sense him. So he just kicks him, and eventually he does regain his eyesight, and while Arashi is flying around, he uses his Specium Ray and blows up the monster, which then leads Arashi to thinking that he blew it up. Which they, of course, Arashi gets his title back and has to recite the code of the Science Patrol, and then the episode ends. So, sculpting on this guy. It's not a bad sculpt. It could be a little bit better, but, yeah. Now, my main gripe with the head is these lips. Why does he have lips? Like, seriously, this just doesn't look right. It looks like they splashed paint onto his face just to make it look accurate to the suit, which it really doesn't. He had like some red on his mouth, but like some red or pink, but it's not like he had an overly large amount. But then we do get some nice sculpting on the chest with the I don't know what they are, like little divots or something. And then we got the claws, the nice folds in the arms to make it look like a suit, the back of his neck. This is where my main gripe comes in, with the back. You see all these little divots or whatever they are, but it's just one long gray streak. It doesn't even, like, there's no red in them. It looks like they just took gray and spray painted it all along here. And then, of course, the really short tail. But it's a Bandai figure. It's an Ultra 500 figure, so what can you expect? And then on the feet, you got the nice little, well, not really nice little, but the little sticker there, which I might just take these off of my figures because I don't really have any plans of using them. But yeah, and then we got the nice, this is something else I have an issue with. The holes on his head in the episode were actually supposed to be, like, there was red in them, I believe. So yeah, and just some minor misdetailing on the horn. But it does have a nice shade of brown. It definitely looks like him, and the chest plate thing right there, I don't know what that is. But yeah, so that's it for detailing. Now on to sizing. Since he only fought one opponent, at least that I have, let's size him up with none other than Ultraman. Yeah. So this is another issue with the Ultra 500 line. It's the same way. They all overtower the monsters. Now, if Zaragas were like this big, maybe a little bit more like here, then that'd be accurate. But having him like this, it's not really that accurate. Now, there are some monsters from the Ultra Monster Series line that actually do scale up well with them. That, like, when the Ultra Hero series was around, they towered over the monsters, but with the Ultra Monster line, some of the monsters that were towered over actually are rather in scale with the figures now, like Naranga, for example. That was one that I have, and it actually looks like it would be from the actual, like, you could actually do the actual fight from the show. So that's one thing that I do give the props to, the ability to cross between the two series to make it more accurate. But articulation, we do get, he's got, the arms rotate 360. I'm not going to rotate the head, although that does rotate 360. But whenever I try to move it, the head pops off. So I don't really like that. But both arms rotate 360. I might have to try to fix that head, though. This is another gripe I have. You have to constantly pull out the arm in order to make it so that it doesn't scratch against the thighs. Sorry if that moved up like that for a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. I really need a tripod, but I don't have one right now. But the tail does rotate 360, so you do get some nice movement in the tail. And this is another thing. There's actually some detailing on here for, like, the little holes and everything. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So you can see those, but it doesn't seem to have been colored or anything. So yeah, so that's Zaragas. It's not a bad figure. I'm happy that we even got a figure of Zaragas finally. Unfortunately, it's not one of the better sculpts, but it's better than nothing. I'll give it that. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I guess I will see you guys for my next review. So yeah, so I'm gonna give him. I'll give him. I'll give him a 4 out of 5 because he does have some good points. And no, you know what? I gotta give him a 3.5 because the sculpting could be a lot better. It's good that we got a Zaragas figure, but it's not one of the better ones. So yeah. So hopefully one day we'll get a larger Bandai scale, like a larger series where the figures will be more accurate and will be much larger as well. So hope you guys enjoy the video, and I guess I will see you guys from an next review. So bye.